Greetings, YouTube. As I log into the game for the first time since the game went down, I guess I should begin this video by addressing the elephant in the room, which is the cause of, now that we know what happened, multiple games going down on the Google server. It's crazy to think that the Kabam server can be difficult to do and can difficult to access, but that the overall, it's sort of like the state versus the federal government in my mind. The state seems to control a lot, but it controls very little compared to the federal, at least in America. And I don't know if that analogy is going to make the most sense to people in different countries. But for those of you watching in America and YouTube, analytics tell me that's about 80% of my audience. You know what I'm talking about between state government, federal government, even local government. I guess our local government would be the alliance, right? This is kind of an interesting analogy. Might have to develop that for a future video. In the meantime, even though the game crashed and it was down for much longer than I expected with that unknown error from what is perceived to be the Google server, when the game came back up, of course, the Icarus early access bundles came back up. These things have been around now for well over a year. Heck, is it even closer to 2 years? And when they first came into the contest, there were no such things as Nexus crystals. Now, what makes these really a better tempting offer still for some players is the fact that you can see the cutoff has always been and remains to be uncollected. I've always viewed this as Kabam trying to tell uncollected players that, hey, if you push to become Cavalier, you won't just have access to these when you see twice a month the early access bundles. You'll also have access to these anytime you want to spend units on Thursdays and beyond. Of course, any day has usually a featured Cavalier champion or two in the Crystal Vault. But back when these were introduced, 1,000 6-star shards was also a lot, which is why they started with 500 6-star shards. The 3 greater champion boosts have always been fantastic, though those have come down a little bit in value too. I do think, just like 6-star signature stones and awakening gems, the values of those only go up as the game evolves, because a Sig 200 6-star Omega Red is more powerful when he's at rank 4 than rank 3, as any 6-star would be. And so as we gain more ease of access to rank up materials for 6-stars, 6-star 6 stones, again, they just become more valuable. So normally it's sort of the opposite, especially with 5-stars. Once you reach rank 5, suddenly everything goes down. But we don't want it to go so down in value that suddenly Kabam is starting to talk about 7 stars, because that's going to give me a little bit of trauma by itself. However, the question is, what the heck should these things be buffed to? Now, I still think ideally they should drop $10. These should be $39.99. It should be like buy 4, get 1 free, because these are essentially $10 a piece. But we have also seen a game-changing value. And look, I know these are early access bundles, so part of the draw is getting the new champion first, but the drop rates for the new champion are 0.3 and 1.5%. They are still pathetic. So most of the time, you're going to spend $50 to $100, and you're going to get no featured champion outside of like a 3 or 4-star, which also, there's 3 things I hate about these crystals. 1, 3 stars in general. The fact that they're here is a total scam of epic historic proportions. Second thing I hate is that you can't even bring 4 stars into Act 6 and beyond, so the 4 stars don't matter except, I guess, for 5-star shards or maybe a new 4-star, but if you're like me and you give your soul to the arena, you'll get a new 4-star every time the arena comes in the game because you'll grind it at least once. And then the third thing I absolutely detest about these crystals is that as access to the game has increased, the drop rates for the featured champions have not. I mean, 0.3% for the 6-star is just a criminally small percentage. Now, of course, what makes these better than they used to be is still the 5 and 6-star Nexus crystals being included in the drop rates. And we've seen people who, oh no, I didn't get Icarus. I had to get a 6-star Nexus that got me Dr. Doom. Poor me. But in general, YouTube, these things look like relics of the past and totally price gouging BS now that we have the best A++ deal, which is the 2 crystals for $5 for those of you who have access to it. I think it's just Cavalier and above. Cavalier Nexus crystals. You can buy for $25. $25 for half the price of this. You can get double this. And yes, I know there aren't 6-star shards and greater champion boosts with it, but that doesn't matter when you consider you get double the crystals for half the price. And it feels like it's 6 times the crystals when you consider that a Nexus crystal is really 3 crystals open at once. You just choose one ending. So at minimum, these have to be buffed by taking out the price by $10, increasing the 6-star shards to at least where the mythic crystals have them at, which is 3,000 or 3,500 6-star shards. And then ultimately, if Kabam really wants to make me impressed, they'll start turning these into Nexus crystals. The problem is, so many people buy these that the supply and the demand is an appropriate point still for them. So I am not going to buy this today. I'm only going to open in the stream tonight the Black Isostore crystal. And in general, I'm also doing this video because $50 or $100, depending on if you buy the limit of 2, and don't even get me started about the bad deal of the Pyramid of the Winds bundle with the Grandmaster version. But in general, for $50 or $100, in less than 2 weeks, we're getting close to in 1 week, a week from Friday, you're going to get Black Panther's Treasure, which includes the 1,450 units, or the Odin's Vault, which is 3,100 units, included in your purchase. So, what a great time to buff these things, especially for those of you who aren't uncollected. I can see them sticking this for uncollected players, but just as they give different offers to different tiers of progression based off of what you're at, they should do that with early access bundles. They should give Cavalier and Thronebreaker players triple the 6-star shards, and eventually, gosh, I'd love for the price to come down and then be Nexus. I don't expect the Nexus thing to really happen. That's pretty unrealistic. But the price to come down, or at least the 6-star shards to triple, that needs to happen ASAP. Thank you for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.